after a quick word from FanDuel, because you guys know FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and they are sponsoring today's show as they always do. You know I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop, but as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games, and the sports just aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball and the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And I have to imagine, guys, that this new Browns Dome Stadium, which we got the renderings of yesterday, will have some sort of sports book attached to it in some capacity. You know FanDuel will be there front and foremost on the minds of the Browns. And in case you missed it, this is the video we were alluding to yesterday. The Browns officially released renderings signaling what we learned earlier in the week, that Brook Park is their new stadium destination. Although Jimmy Haslam said, we're still not 100% sure. When you put this much effort into putting renderings together, it all but seals your fate. And in case you missed it, here it is. It's about 3 minutes long from the Browns on what their new potential facility/development in Brook Park could look like. So, Tyvis, G, and Jason, what are your initial thoughts on that 2.5-minute video of the new renderings for what could be the Browns' future home in Brook Park?
My initial thought was Mayor Bibb wanted a response within 10 days of the city's proposal. There's your response.
Boom.
That was their response.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's a mic drop, too. It's not just a response. It's a big-ass mic drop.
You want us to consider your little piddly offer on the lake? Here's our response to that. Like, we have said this for months. This is happening. If they can figure out the funding, this is going to happen. And every step just leads further and further down that path.
Man, Tyvis, my thoughts is like, when you offer up anything, 80% of the public or 80% of people will look at the valid reasons, look at all the things considered, look at the circumstances and make a wise choice, right? Mm-hmm. The other 15% will look at it and try to be smarter than people and be like, well, let me give you both sides of the argument. Well, yeah, that's nice, but we don't want to bring this down here. What about the downtown area? What about all this other stuff? What about tradition? And they'll probably try to make a argument as to why this thing has some good points and some bad points. And then there's 5% of the population that just like to see the world burn. They're contrarians. If you tell them the world is blue, sky is blue, they'll say it's pink. If they say the world is round, they'll say it's flat. They don't care. They just want to be smarter than everybody and think that they're going to throw the opposite out. If you are hating on this vision, and if it turns out to be what the rendering is, and that you still have to deliver on that, how could you hate on that? There's nothing to hate on here. It's okay, let me get this and let's keep pushing.
I look at it from a standpoint of there's absolutely no, if that's what it's gonna look like, it's a wrap. It's a done deal. Like this is like Watch the Throne just drop. Like it's done. Like don't even drop nothing else. We don't need to see nothing else. I don't need to hear nothing about the stadium downtown no more. Like it's over. It's done. And for anybody that's against the fact that, all right, the Browns is going to be out, think about it's concerts that's going to be there. So now all you Swifties, she might actually come to Cleveland to do the concert. She got a place to go do the concert and all of those things. So I think it serves as so many different purposes, and it's so many things that can come from that stadium being built like that I think that it's the perfect thing. So when I seen that, I was fired up. I was thinking to myself, how can I stay on the Browns radio network for 5 more years so I can see this?
Just simply work for free. No. Simply.
That was my first thought. I saw that and I said, I got to stay with the Browns radio network for at least 5 more years.
Boy right here, man, Jason, this look like you got all kind. What's all this other stuff around them? Is them as proposed buildings they got?
It looked like Pinecrest. Y'all been to Pinecrest? Mm-mm. Y'all ain't never been to Pinecrest on the beach by Beechwood?
Oh yeah, I know where that's at.
Yeah, it looked like that.
The pushback, G, is the public money that's being used. Like if Jimmy wanted to write the check and build the whole thing himself, and you wanted to do that, hey buddy, more power to you. That's great, do it. But when you're talking about the public dollars, and my only issue with it is the fact that they're going to do this without letting the people vote on it. I think that's wrong. Mm-hmm. But this is the trend, and I started looking at it a little bit more last night. Like this is what they did in Tennessee. This is what they did in Buffalo. We talked about Buffalo the other day. Well, it's what they did in Tennessee too. The state is turning over all of this money to these teams now. It's not even just the county and city. It's the state that's doing it. And when you look at the number of facilities in Ohio compared to Tennessee, compared to New York, there's so many more in Ohio that I'm curious to see where this is all going. And I don't know that we have all the answers to it. But when the state is handing over hundreds of millions of dollars to build these things, it's weird to me. It's just, and it's strange that in this same city, I have people from the Guardians tell me about the poverty rate in Cleveland. And they use that as like, look at where we're at, look at what we're dealing with here in our market and trying to attract people when you look at the poverty rate in Cleveland. And then we can play that video. And it's the same city and it's 2 teams in the same town. I'm not trying to poo-poo it. I just can't wrap my head around that this is all the same spot. Like this is all the same city. And there are a lot of issues in Cleveland, and you can find better use for money than building a stadium. I agree with that. But yet also I want the dome. Like 2 things can be true. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm really curious to see the public financing, how this is going to look, the plan that I care about that more than I care about. You can make anything look good in a video. They're going to make everything look good. I want to see the dollars. Where's the money coming from? Where's the public money coming from? Who's putting up what? How's this going to be repaid? That's the part. And I don't want to be like the wet blanket on the whole thing because I do want the dome. I've been to the dome in Minnesota. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
And Zach Jackson, have you been there?
I played.
Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. So Zach Jackson.
Been out the game that long.
Yeah. Well, so we walked in there and looked around. And we're like, oh yeah, this is it. Like Minnesota might have SoFi is probably the number one in the league. I haven't been to Vegas.
I
Have
haven't
you seen
been.
Vegas?
No.
So I haven't. I've been to SoFi. SoFi is probably number one. Minnesota's top 3 in the league, top 3 or 5. It is unbelievable, and I would love to have that in Cleveland. I'm just saying, let's do it responsibly.
Yeah,
that's all.
I agree with that. To me, and this is a great thing because you can talk because this is strictly political, by the way. When you talk about the stadium and how you going to do with the funds and how you going to get it. My thing is this. Back in the day, there used to be a program where it was called JTPA, Job Training Partnership, right? And what it did is gave all kids in the city of Canton an opportunity to go fill out applications and get jobs at different places, right? Under the age of 16. So what they found is that crime went down, child poverty or child hunger programs went down because kids actually had money in their pocket. They had money for school clothes. They had money to go spend things. They had money to help their parents out because everyone had jobs. And they would match you wherever you went. Whether it was, was doing recreation stuff, whether it was watching children, whether it was just doing cutting grass or whatever, or working in city buildings. However, the funding for that got cut somewhere around the, mid to late 90s, right? And so they found that a lot of times those kids ended up back on the streets. And one of the things that I always go to is, there's a lot of times when we want to build things like this, but the excuse is, well, what could we do with what other money could we use to spend on things like kids or programs like that? And we come up with the ideas, and yes, we could spend them on that. But then my thing to the politicians is, well, you ain't been doing that anyway.
Right. That's fair.
That money that you was going to allocate, or you say you can allocate for other things like poverty or homeless or lower reading rates in public schools or books. You guys don't do that when we don't have the stadium, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have the Brown Stadium at the lakefront since '99. You guys didn't say, well, let's allocate this money to books. No, you didn't do any of that. So now when they want money to do the stadium, it's like, well, we can find another better way to spend the money. That is true. But I've always learned it with politicians. They're going to do the least. They're not going to give you that. They're going to find a way to do the least. They'll find a way to give people tax breaks. They'll give tax cuts to the really wealthy or give subsidies. The reality of the situation is they're going to come with that stadium. They're going to get that stadium. They're going to get that money for that stadium.
Oh, yeah.
They sound like Denzel Washington. Hey,
I'm going to get that money.
I'm going to get that money. I need that money.
Jake, I need that money.
And by the way, Jimmy is putting up quite a big stake in this.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And he's putting up a lot of money. But again, there is still the public component to it. So my thing is just let the people who are using it build it. So if you find a way to tax the sports gambling, that's what I've been pushing.
Yeah.
Just add more taxes to that. It's already taxed heavily.
Yeah.
Just find a lobbyist and add more tax to it. It's not.
That's easy.
Do that, the electronic poll tabs all the stuff we talked about before, the marijuana that they tried to sort out the tax on that. No one could figure out the tax. Not that marijuana use goes directly to the stadium, but find avenues of people who are using the stadium and admissions tax on the tickets. If you're getting, we keep talking about the price of this thing, add a $3 tax or $4 tax on every ticket sold, fine. At least the people who are using it are the ones that are building it.
Do you think it was smart for them to circumvent the city or the vote?
Well, it wasn't going to pass.
Right.
So, and they know it wasn't going to pass. All these referendums in these cities are getting voted down.
Yeah.
Anyone who takes it to the ballot for these things, they're getting shot down. So the ones that don't have to take it to the ballot are pulling an end around, and they're getting the money from bonds and from the state and from everything else. So, yeah, it was. I want the people to have a vote, but at the same time, I know and they know how they would have voted, which is why it's not going to the ballot.
Right. That's crazy. McNuggets.
The money's a whole separate issue that we'll dive into another time. But based off what we saw from these renderings and these pictures yesterday, just based off this video, and to Jason's point, every rendering is going to look incredible. There's no expense that you have to spare in a rendering video. And Steve, if you want to play the video again, might as well play it to let people see it one more time. The facility that they are proposing to build in Brook Park is incredible. Is everything you could hope for and dream for if you're a Browns fan.
I see they
in one spot.
Too.
in one facility with the stadium. I'm not sure if you guys noticed this. The dog pound, an entire level, uninterrupted by the concourses. When they get to it, you can see the pictures again. It would be from the field level to the upper deck of quote-unquote dog pound fans. This is everything you could have hoped and dreamed for if the Haslams and whoever else were going to spend the money to build a palace in Brook Park. This is it. And they hit it exactly. They hit the nail exactly on the head.
That glass
what
roof?
you could have wanted from a purely fan perspective. It's brilliant. I think it damn looks near close to perfect. Obviously, we don't know what the shops and the development around it will look like, but the only thing you have to make sure you incorporate back in is somehow finding a way to pay homage to the Muni lot in this new stadium facility development. There has to be some sort of component of that diehard, lifelong Browns fandom and the tailgating tradition from the Muni lot that makes its way over from downtown to Brook Park.
And I'm going to tell you what, for me, I looked at it and it was like, we finally have something nice.
That's the point.
We finally got something nice. Like, Tyvis, it's like when you growing up, man, and it's something to be prideful. Like, we like gym shoes, and it's like when you told no, you can't have them when you're young, and then you got an opportunity to get a little money,
you buy all of them,
and you get everyone that you can, and you still feel that happiness inside, like I finally got something nice, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you done worked your whole life for something. And right now the Cleveland Browns got a state-of-the-art building where now everybody comes back and talks about how beautiful it is. Go back to when Jacobs Field came out. I was just living off them compliments for years. Remember how everybody was like,
first time you walked in there, you're like, is this Cleveland?
This cannot be. Like, I said, wow, this is, I would just watch it on TV and look at the camera angles. I'm like, man, they got something in center field you can see out there.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel when I see it. Like, you know they're going to want to come for Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football. You know people are going to come out of town.
You know the Super Bowl is going to go there.
You know what
the Final Four, concerts, the Super Bowl, all the other things that you can't have at the current downtown location, you could have at this rendering of what we hope turns into the reality of the new Brook Park Dome.
McNuggets' condo is around the corner. He got a new condo with him and Miss McNuggets over.
I can't afford that condo. That's gonna be that $3,000 for a one-bedroom studio.
Like, you can just walk down to the game. Like, that's the type of atmosphere. Look at that glass ceiling. Look at that glass ceiling and it's slanted and everything. Cathedral glass.
The glass ceiling makes it interesting because like it still brings that element. Like when it snows, you can still look up and see like the snow on that'd be all right.
It's coming out snowing. And
you're warm while you're looking at it.
And you just look at that snow like, yeah, thank you. You're going to be sitting there looking up like, man, this is a beautiful idea, get this dome.
T-shirts and flip-flops.
and the beautiful part about this, I don't know what the trend, because I'm all into, when you talk about these stadiums, the infrastructure has to be there for getting people there, whether it's the highway system is built a certain way, whether it's the subway system. The beautiful part is that if they can make this thing where you, for the most part, can get to that stadium and you don't have to be in the elements, like through a subway or transit system that's connected in a hub, bro, sign me up.
Well, I mean, I believe, RTA still runs the airport. So you can take RTA to the airport, and then if you can connect somehow the airport to Brook Park, which is not that far.
Yeah. It's like a 15. No, that ain't even that. Or is it 15? No.
To the Ford plant from the airport?
Yeah, that's not even 15 minutes.
No,
it's like it's like.
And we don't. And not that I know. I don't think Cleveland has a subway system.
Just RTA.
Just RTA.
Auntie Rita.
So look, you can connect that where I can leave my hotel and go underground and walk in my shorts and flip-flops and come up in the dome.
Man,
stop.
That's how Minnesota like that. They connected to the hotel.
Indiana did, or Indianapolis.
Indianapolis is like that too.
You ain't even gotta leave.
You ain't even gotta go into the elements.
Yeah.
You ain't even gotta step outside. You go right from your hotel right to your seat in the game.
Those two cities, more than any other, I don't think I'm leaving any others out, have done a terrific job of connecting downtown. Obviously, this is different.
Yeah.
This is a suburb. And you're talking about just trying to get from the airport there. And they are going to have to come up with more access points. It is like the highways are right there. They're right there, and 237 is right there. They can probably expand that, but they have to come up with more exits. All that can be worked out. All that, but it's a lot more accessible than the lakefront on where it currently is now. Like Route 2 runs through there, but this one, there's just a lot more access points, a lot more ways. You can actually get there from all four sides. Yeah. Whereas Cleveland Browns Stadium, it's 3 sides, and really, I don't even know if it's that. It's really 2. So,
I mentioned the elevated full-story dog pound that was in the rendering. Steve, take the picture full real quick. You can see in the back end zone, you see the 2 levels that go directly from field up to, that's a Jumbotron or whatever. Tyvis, can you think of another stadium in the league that has some sort of section like that? Or would that be something unique and new to what this proposed dome would look like?
Not off the top of my head, I can think of something like that.
That's
more. That looks more like a college type thing, where the student section looks something like that.
Like their end zone reminds me of kind of like the horseshoe a little bit.
Don't it? That's what it looked like. Yeah, it's like that section. It's like the student section.
And then them towers is right over to the right hand side.
Well, I believe the same architecture firm that did SoFi and Minnesota is the one that is doing this one.
That is correct, Jason. HGK.
So SoFi got something.
Well, they're rich.
SoFi is.
You never been to SoFi, right?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
See, it wasn't done yet.
I
was still playing at the Coliseum.
I did SoFi because the Browns played the Chargers there a couple years ago. I was out there for that.
Must be nice.
That crazy, the Baker Herbert game.
Yeah.
Oh, they both. Yeah.
So
Mike Williams went crazy.
So SoFi, I think, is the best in the league. I haven't seen the Raiders yet. Minneapolis.
Are you
is up
going
there.
to the Vegas game this year?
What do you think? It's in Vegas.
It's in Vegas.
He'll be there.
He got a whole. They warming his personal suite up now.
He'll be there.
Mr. Lloyd, your complimentary chips and bottles.
So LA and Minneapolis. What am I missing? What are the other top ones? Atlanta's okay. Atlanta's nice.
Atlanta's new. I'm not sure how great it's been.
I like the way that the top opens and closes is cool, but I wasn't totally blown away by Atlanta.
Really?
No, not like I was Minnesota.
Now, our colleague Adam DeBull was a little upset because it wasn't retractable. Is anybody salty about the fact that you can't have open games?
No.
Or
in a perfect world, sure. I will, and maybe you say, like, when you're at where you're at, what's another $300 million
right
on top of
my thing is that the reason I'm cool with it not being retractable because if it's a glass ceiling, like. It's still like you still get the sun.
You feel like you kind of outside.
Yeah, like that. Like it's like Minnesota. Like they don't need to really open it because like the sun is peaking right now.
It is wild how light it is.
It's bright. Yeah.
When they was playing games, it'd be shadows in there. I'm like, dang, what's going on? Like this is crazy, man.
I haven't seen Dallas. I haven't seen Jerry's World. Have you been to Dallas?
I've been at
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, all right, you have.
Not only did hello, where you think that was at?
That was the first.
Yes, all right. I say dumb things sometimes.
And I played for Dallas in the preseason. Yes, I've been to Jerry's World.
So how's Jerry's compared to
Jerry's? Oh, the big thing about Jerry's World, like his like down at the below, like he got like little clubs and stuff. It's actually pretty cool. And then they like
those have to be the worst seats in America, though.
The club seats that's down at the bottom.
Down
See, I wouldn't know because I was on the field. So
well, I've covered
really
games
know.
there, but you looking and you're sitting underground. Your head level is like waist level for all the players standing on the sideline.
That is true.
How you can see the game, I have no idea.
I
idea.
I think it's badass the way they be coming through the stadium. Like,
you talking about the Dallas
players?
It's cold. Yeah.
I say, yo, that's crazy.
The biggest thing about them is the jumbotron. That's the biggest thing for them. Like,
and that's another thing. I wonder how long this jumbotron gonna be. I need to be in the mix with this.
We talking about for the Browns?
Yeah.
You want them to have a big jumbotron? See, the big jumbotron, the problem with that is you catch yourself too busy looking at that than looking at the actual game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hey, G. Bush, Director Steve just made a great point. If it is a glass roof, it's probably not strong enough to support a massive jumbotron from the sky.
That's
right.
Very
true. I
see their jumbotron is kind of in the end zone a little bit.
It's in the end zone behind
That's how
the
Minneapolis
arena
is.
as opposed to hanging down over top.
That's how Minneapolis is. Minneapolis is the end zone. SoFi has that like ring in the middle. That's really cool.
I haven't been, so I couldn't.
Best part about it, I do like the roof. I like the dog. It all depends on what they do with the dog pound. I want to see how loud that place can get, because
that's a big part of it.
Is there any stadium that like you've been in that's
Minnesota?
Loud? Minnesota's like crazy.
When they get to doing that,
Yeah, the skull.
that loud as heck, boy. I ain't gonna lie to you. You be like, you can't let them make no plays and start that, because once they start that, it's done. You can't hear nothing.
Well, at least you can't. No, I became a fan.
Skull!
I became a fan on fans banging on like some old old tinfoil at the Browns.
I'm about to say, the way they was there for that Thursday night game against the Jets, you bring that energy to a dome, it's gonna be loud.
Man, that's crazy. Well, now that's the home field advantage I want. Not it being 12 degrees and both teams got their hands in their pants.
I still don't understand why people talk about that like that. Like, with I like the blizzard. No, you don't. You don't want to go to the game and watch them run the ball 80 times a piece and throw the ball 2 times. No, you don't want to see that. Like, you really don't. Like, you want to see your quarterbacks go out there and have a chance to throw the ball for 300 yards. You want to see these deep balls still being thrown. You want to enjoy it and be comfortable while you don't have to sit there with a blanket on and be like, man, run the ball and let's get out of here. Like, you don't want both, because that's what's going to be on the mind of the players, the coaches, and everybody that's in the building. You want to go there. You want to pay your money, go there and enjoy your time there and see a great product on the field. So stop it. No player want to do it, no coach want to do it, and no fan really want to do it. Y'all need to cut the cap with that. And y'all make me mad when y'all say, I want to be out there in the cold and the elements. No, you don't.
Most of the people saying that first time they go inside and watch a game, they're like, yeah, this ain't so bad after all.
Most people saying that are the people that's at the house watching the game to begin with.
Yeah, because there ain't nobody at those games.
My point exactly.
Oh, I went to that Saints game.
And you'll never do it again.
Never do it again. That was insane. That was
Last
totally insane.
Last point on the stadium, guys. We'll move on to our next topic. But in their letter to Cleveland Browns fans yesterday, Jimmy Haslam said, we haven't fully committed to Brook Park. And they declined to offer up renderings for a renovated downtown stadium. In your mind, Jason, does that mean that they really are giving no credence to renovating downtown?
I didn't even hear what you said.
Technically, they got 4 more days to answer it.
They just answered.
I'm just saying.
They just answered.
They
just delivered their answer.
They got to put a statement together in 4 days.
Look, the city basically said, here's everything you want. And they said, how about this video we just created? The city said, hey, we're going to give you parking on game days. That's what you really wanted. We're going to turn over all the parking to you. We're going to give you all this money. We're going to give you everything you wanted. And the Haslam's response was, look at this video that we spent the last month creating. Take a look at this video.
I wish I would have went and looked at like the comments under there. I wonder if there's any negative comments. I mean, I'm sure it is because it's Twitter.
There's negative comments and everything.
Exactly, but I just want to see like ratio-wise. Like,
9-1 probably.
and when you like,
I have the answer to that real quick, Jason. We put up a poll in our chat. Thoughts on the first renderings of the new Brown Stadium? I gave people 4 options. I love it. I like it. I'm on it, and then I'm against it. How much you think said I love it?
60 to 70%.
G?
Well, I just threw out a ratio. I'm going to have to stick to it. 80?
Ty?
72.
74%. This is over 500
Ooh,
votes, by the way. 74% said they love it. Guess how many said they like it?
That's them
16.
That's that 15%. Go ahead.
You got it perfect. So 90% like or love, 10% or against it.
Yeah.
That's the final poll result. So 9-1, as you guys mentioned, pro at minimum 9-1.
And like, look, I'm with you. That wasn't that rebuttal they gave. Come on now. That little $400 million, they paying Deshaun Watson that.
But that's roughly what the team said they would need from the city to redo it. And the city said, okay. And the Browns said,
nah, come on, bro. We weren't really interested. You didn't get the memo. We were just playing. You were supposed to we just wink, nod. Come on, bro. Then they rolled this out. Come on, let's renovate that old dusty stadium.
Is there?
I just want to know, what do they do with it? Like, what?
Blow it up.
Knock it down. I just thought of this. I'll say it anyway. when Manny Ramirez was leaving to go to Boston,
Oh man.
the Indians made a last-ditch effort
I remember.
that they knew he wasn't going to take,
Right.
but they could say, "Hey, we tried." Is this the city's Manny Ramirez saying, "We know they're going to Brook
Definitely.
Park, but we
Definitely.
can't have it look like we didn't try,
Right,
so
on
we're
my
going to throw
watch."
this offer out, knowing, hey, man, we tried."
If they
But
would've-
they knew, everybody has known this was if they could figure out the funding, it was always going to end this way. It was never a debate. It was never a debate.
This is Jimmy Haslam we're talking about. He feels like I'm in the same category as Jerry Jones. Stop playing with me. I need my money. Go ahead, McNuggets.